Hi everyone and good evening. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, and welcome to Small Biz Chat live from New York. I'm America's #1 small business expert and best-selling author of Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. I'm so excited to be back in New York, and I gotta tell you guys, I got a secret. I've got a brand new book coming out this fall called Fix Your Business, so I want you to stay tuned for that. But tonight we are celebrating National Small Business Week, and for the last 8 years, I have hosted Small Biz Chat live on Twitter every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. And once a year, we get off of Twitter and do a live video broadcast in celebration of National Small Business Week. And it's that time of year again when the nation's Small Business Administration and corporations alike celebrate our nation's small businesses. And they just should. After all, we are the backbone of our nation's economy. Small businesses create 70% of the net new jobs in the American economy, and we are 20 million strong and growing. The focus of Small Biz Chat is to end small business failure while helping you succeed as your own boss. Each week, every Thursday, I post the Q&A interview on my blog, Succeed as Your Own Boss, so that in case you ever miss Small Biz Chat, you can always get the information the next day on your own timetable. Now, I have hosted over 350 live interviews on Twitter, and tonight we are taking live questions from you on Twitter too, so I don't want my Twitter folks to feel bad because we are on Facebook. All you got to do is use our hashtag SmallBizChatLive to send your questions in to one of our 3 guests. And if we use your question, y'all know I love to give away free stuff, so you will be able to qualify for one of our great giveaways. Now, I am so excited about tonight's chat, and it is being generously sponsored by FedEx. FedEx is committed to helping small businesses, and if you are interested in more than just shipping, FedEx is there for you. They have got tons of solutions for your business. And what I want you to know is that in addition to great printing and marketing options from FedEx Office, if you're an e-commerce business, if you're ready to go international, if you're looking for a better packaging option, FedEx is here to help. And I want you to know that if you're interested in getting more information about how FedEx helps small businesses, I want you to go to FedEx's small business website. They have a FedEx Small Business Center, and you can get that information at http://smallbusiness.fedex.com. Now to our show. This is Small Biz Chat live from New York, and we have a special show for you tonight. Now, normally I only have one guest with me live on Twitter, but tonight I have 3 guests here in the studio with me, and we are going to help you take your business to the next level. I'm going to talk with Twyla Garrett, Dory Clark, and Raheem Jahala, one of the Gin Jam brothers, and we are going to be talking about things that are going to help you take your business to the next level. We're going to talk about branding and networking, and we're going to talk about how to go from a product idea to store shelves. So now in the studio with me, I have our first guest, Miss Twyla Garrett, and she is a serial entrepreneur. She is a huge government contractor. She has done so many amazing things in her business. She also happens to be one of my dearest friends.
Absolutely.
So I got to tell you, Twyla, I'm so excited for you to be here all the way from Raleigh, North Carolina.
That's right.
To be here in the studio with us live.
Thank you.
And so tell me, Twyla, you have done a lot. You have been in business since 1996, and you have started your second business, which was focused on government contracting.
True, and now I'm on to my 7th business.
Oh gosh, all right, but wait a minute. We got to roll back because I want to talk to you about your government contracting business. So you started it in 2000.
Started it in 2000. I sold in 2016.
Okay, but you cut out some stuff because you grew it to like over 25 million.
Yeah, it was a pretty large brand. So
right.
I was a Homeland Security disaster preparedness expert. I still am an expert. And what I was able to do is I came from the government. So I used to be a deputy comptroller in Native North Island, which was with the Navy. I also was an FMS, foreign military salesperson with the government. And so I got to a point where there was a glass ceiling. So I left. I actually turned my business, and within 3 weeks, took myself from a business of about 0 to about 210K in revenue and sales in 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks? You
In
must
3
be
weeks.
a bad sales
I'm a
lady.
bad sister. I am.
You must be a bad, bad sales lady.
I was, and the thing was that I realized that my value was better served outside of the government than inside the government. Not that the government did me wrong, but selling to the government is difficult. And the one thing I did is had about 7.5 to 8 years of experience doing it. So I had perfected a little bit about writing proposals, looking at, the target markets, making sure your niche is what you focus on instead of going all over the place. And that's what we did. And so my niche was numbers. My niche was economic analysis. My niche was, balancing budgets for large commands. And so when I came out, my very first contract was doing economic analysis for the Navy on a command-based closure and a shrinkage. And so it was an easy fit. And then, within months, I was able to actually secure another contract. But the only way you secure it is by writing for it. Sure. Yeah, so when people want to get into government contracting, I tell them you've got to be able to understand that the cycle time is so much longer than anything on the private side.
Right, you're talking about your sales cycle,
exactly.
Right?
So you got to have a pipeline that's literally probably around 2 to 3 years long.
Okay.
And in some cases, it might go longer. I remember winning a bid. I actually was so excited through the win party and didn't get awarded the damn contract until almost 13 months later. And then guess what? Somebody protested it.
Oh no.
So all that work, the celebration, the party, the people, for naught. Because the protest happened and the government decided not to even award it again.
Wow.
They kept the business inside. So when you look at the government, it's a great option for those individuals that have that time. But in order to get into that game, what they have to also do is be able to seriously sit down and look at their marketing strategy and make sure the marketing strategy matches their life strategy. Okay. Because if you got 2 years to wait for a win, and then, in the light right now where there's so many competitors, one person can protest and throw everything and derail it. Wow. And you can get into the programs. I chose personally not to be in any of the economic disadvantage programs for almost 15 years of business.
Wow.
So I was registered as a woman-owned business, but I didn't get an 8A until I was in year 15 of business. And within year 16, I sold.
Wow.
So, there were strategies behind that. One of the things that I wanted to do was to make sure we could compete. One of the things with some of the 8A companies is that they really rely heavily on getting those contracts. And when they get them, they don't necessarily understand how to really win them. And so if you can't win them, you're not going to stay in business when the 8A program goes away in 8 to 9 years.
Wow, okay.
So those were some of the things that I learned. But overall, the government is a great entry point because they are the largest producer and seller of goods for us.
Right.
But you got to understand that cycle.
So you just said that this is your 7th business that you're on now.
Absolutely.
Now, and you're in a contracting business now, right?
I own a construction firm and I also own an independent adjusting firm. And so contracting is a little different. We're a licensed GC out of Raleigh. We have an amazing partner, Skanska. We're a mentor protege under them. Okay. So they've allowed us to kind of grow and build with them in some of those major projects that they're playing in. I mean, they're probably about 11 to 13 billion in revenue. Wow. That's a B.
That's a B.
Billion in revenue.
Billion, right.
And so being a mentee under them is probably the best situation we could have ever had. Okay. And on the adjusting side, when you call and maybe someone crashes a car or a storm comes through your neighborhood, all those people that scurry on the ground to try to make sure that your insurance claim is paid and make sure that you can get your estimates in back to your AIGs and state farms, well, those are people that we provide. So we provide independent adjusters that come into catastrophes or just on daily claims as well.
Wow, wow. So now, this is your 7th business, but you just had a big win. You just sold.
You just sold
a multi-million dollar company.
And I had to get it ready for sale.
For a lot of pesos.
So you dineros were great.
Right. So you got to tell me, how is it that how have you kept the fire alive to want to keep
get back in there again?
Why would you start another business? You won. You
I
got to sell your business. So why would you do it again?
My drive and my passion is to employ people. And so I tell people, do not get into the business of a business or go into business to make money. It wasn't to make money, it was my passion is to employ people. I came from a very deprived environment, grew up deprived, and so I know that if I can turn people's lives around, it's by giving them employment. And so the reason why I was able to jump actually into it, I kind of didn't jump necessarily. I actually started 2 years or 3 years before I sold to build those brands, starting those brands up. But in order to sell, I had to do due diligence. And that means you need to scrub your books, scrub your people, and scrub to see if you're worthy of something. But I knew that and secondly, I'm young enough to be able to do it again. I know I wasn't going to be able to sit on the beach for about 2 or 3, 4 years and I'll be bored out of my daggone mind. So I needed to get back in the game.
I think I could do it.
I know you would want to. She's been in the beach with me, so I know she wants to do it.
I'm about the beach life. But I want to put that out there.
We can't retire this young without making the impact to life. And I know in 15 more years, we're going to be chatting again, and I know you're going to be still pressing to make sure small businesses is doing their thing. And so I'm hoping that my next 2 brands to also become multi-million-dollar brands and sell. And so I'm positioning both of those companies coming out of the gate for sale. I'm doing valuations as I start.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
How do you position a business to sell it, to one day sell it?
Well, the one thing you got to do is you got to make sure that your infrastructure is tight. There's nobody going to buy your business if infrastructure is weak. Wow. If you do not have the resources to scale, you're not going to be able to make it through the time. And so what I've done in each of the business, before we opened the door and started pulling employees in, we had sound processes, how to hire, how to fire, how to evaluate, how we want to market, how we don't want to market, who is our client base. And so we set up all of those called customer relationship management tools, and it takes money. We hired an accountant, we hired a lawyer. And they were lawyering and accounting on anything, right? But we were paying to make sure that the chart of accounts was going to be correct, that every single thing that was going to go through, whether it's receivables or not, that contracts and negotiations, especially on the construction side, that was the only industry that I knew that actually pays you 120 days, and that's good if you get that. Wow. So when people say construction firms go out of business quick, I know why. Because they pay them in 120 days. Wow. And so I had to bring lawyers in to look at contracts before I start negotiating with anybody to make sure things are favorable. And so we want to be able to bring that into light. And now, because it's a little easier when you do it the second, third time around, because my accountants are now positioned to look at everything at a clean slate. So I can't screw up anything yet, right? Because all the processes are new. And so the only thing we can do is adapt them as we grow. Sure. So as we bring in more people, if we start scaling in other states, looking at different employment laws, you need those people on your team.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? Let's talk about hiring, because I know as a small business owner, hiring is the biggest nightmare that I have.
Amen.
And every other entrepreneur I talk to tells me the exact same thing. You have hired hundreds and hundreds of people.
I have.
So tell me, what has been your secret to ferreting out whether people are a good fit for your business?
Well, and some people are going to say this is not a good thing, but I do hire slow and I fire fast.
Okay.
And I'm going to be honest with you. And the reason for that is because you can't just jump in a relationship. When you hire somebody, especially when you're looking at your key man staff, those people are going to be directly reporting to you versus line managers. You got to be able to make sure you have individuals that are going to be vested and trusted and in the same boat. I manage by a philosophy, and it's a wonderful book called Traction. And if they haven't read it, they need to.
Okay.
Because it's a great methodology about making sure that everybody is on the same page and in the boat, steering together. Mm-hmm. You're going to have so many people in the boat sometimes that you don't know if the people in the back are even steering, or if they're just sitting there going, look, I can't wait till this thing is over with so I can park my ticket, get my check, and go. And so with that being said, I needed to make sure that certain things happened. They didn't see me when I interviewed. I was always the last person that interviewed them. Right. Because I needed to make sure 3 or 4 other people vetted them. And one of my people that vetted them was not even part of my company.
Okay.
We did a personality test. I met a gentleman about 9.5, 10 years ago who says, you need to make sure you understand personalities. of the people who are working with you. Because in Homeland Security, it takes a unique personality to deal with tragedy and to deal with bodies probably, and in the situation of being able to be responsive in a catastrophe.
Right.
And so you can't have someone there that's going to just start breaking down crying in the midst of we responding. And so we have to be able to have different personalities. So we did personality tests. And then the last thing we did is we wanted to see your family. We wanted to see who was behind you.
Wow.
Because in the event that we had to take you away for 2 to 3 months, is this stable?
Okay.
And if it wasn't stable or it appeared to be a picture that was too good to be true, most likely it was. So we counted in a lot of things. And then we also made sure that they knew there was a short-term contract of 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, 120, and then a year. And we did those evaluations to make sure for 2 things, that these individuals understood at any given time we could all separate and say goodbye. Right?
Okay.
And if we weren't meeting our objectives, then we didn't need to be together. And I firmly believe that. I've already had to terminate an employee on a construction company.
Wow.
But it wasn't, it was a separation because the match did not fit. And so when you know it doesn't fit, the one thing I tell you is don't force it.
Okay.
Because what you're going to do is just lose money and be pissed off at the end.
Oh, yeah. I know all about that.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Exactly.
Now, I once heard you say that if you know math, you can run any business.
I will contest that if you are, I'm a businesswoman.
Okay.
I went to school for accounting and mathematics, and I truly know how to read the numbers. And I can tell you the best thing that's happened to me in every one of my businesses is to be able to look at a balance sheet, look at trial balances, pro formas, and statements, and see where those numbers are telling me. And because of that, I have been blessed to open up a trucking company. I've opened up a nightclub, and all of those businesses have ran into the millions successfully. Now, I shut those down because when numbers didn't start lying, numbers can't tell you craziness. You know, my accountant can come in and tell me, Twyla, everything is great. But I knew the retained earnings weren't telling me everything was great, or the position statements that I was seeing on our weekly, profit and loss didn't make sense.
All right, but wait a minute. Now, in fairness, didn't you graduate with an accounting degree and a mathematics degree?
I sure did. I did.
So, average bear entrepreneur.
But this is where the average bear needs to understand. If that is not your forte, then you don't want to be cheap and you need to hire it. And then you also need to start learning. An average bear should know how to learn. All right?
True.
Okay, so if this is your business and this is your lifeblood, you need to understand 1 + 1 = 2. Because if you don't, somebody's going to take 1 + 1 and give you 5, and then subtract 3 and have 2 left, and the 3 that you should have had in your pocket is in there. And so I know many women have belonged to several organizations that were $100 million businesses. And I remember sitting around tables with these women in these clubs I belonged to, and they're crying about how they would just had someone embezzle $10 million. There is no way in hell you will move $1 out of Twyla Garrett's company without me knowing it.
Right.
Let alone 10 million.
Right. Now, I'm with that, and I know for my business, I check my bank accounts every day.
I know you
So
do.
if you steal from me, you would do it one time.
Exactly.
Because I would catch you.
You would notice it every day. And
Yeah.
see, that young lady owned a large business. She was not savvy. She was not savvy in the numbers, and she trusted someone else to just tell her a story. And they told the story. So if you're going to be in business, regardless of whether you like numbers or not, you need to at least know how to address them.
Right.
And know how to validate if they make any sense.
Now, one of the things that I like to tell entrepreneurs is that by the 15th of the month, you need to know how well your business did last
Absolutely.
month. So you need to make sure that your bookkeeper or accountant, someone is giving you a cash flow statement,
Absolutely.
income statement, balance sheet every month.
We do a cash flow statement every week.
Wow.
Because depending on the cyclical business that you're in, if you're in retail, you should know every week where you're at because you're getting stuff coming in every day.
Right.
And so in the government contracting realm, it could be between a 30 to 45-day delay in payables. So, that was something. But normally I would tell people to get into the habit of at least doing it every week so they'll know what they're looking at. And then as their cycle changes, if nothing changes, that's fine. But that means you identify the bleeps as soon as it does change.
Got it.
Does change. It's key. The math is tell you everything.
Now, I know that you have a book coming out
I
later
do
this
have a
summer.
motivational book coming out. It's called My Mother's Words, how the most negative influence was my most positive motivator. And you guys stay tuned for that. I hope to come back and talk to you about it.
We are gonna have you on Small Biz Chat
Okay.
when that book is ready to come out.
I can't wait.
And I want you to come to Philadelphia because I'm gonna do a book signing
Absolutely.
for you too.
Oh, I would love to.
I'm gonna do a book
I would
signing
love
for
to.
you.
You got me.
Because that's how excited I am about
got
you
me.
telling people about your true rags to riches story.
Here's some rags. Seriously.
Well, you know, we all are products and victims of our environment.
Exactly.
Yes?
That's right.
All right. Well, listen, I thank you so much for
Thank you,
giving us
sis.
your time
Thank
and
you.
coming to hang out with us on Small Biz Chat Live. This has been a wonderful kickoff to our live
thank
show.
you so much. And I look forward to watching the rest of the show and hearing some of the chats that's going on. So,
All right.
Thank you, love.
Thank you so much. Listen, when we come right back, we're going to be talking with branding expert Dory Clark, and she's going to be talking to us about branding and networking. So if you're ready to start positioning yourself as a thought leader in your industry, I'm going to give you all the information you need when we come right back. I'm Melinda Emerson, and you're watching Small Biz Chat Live.
Memphis-style ribs, fresh New England oysters, farm-to-table caramel. When small businesses work with FedEx, they're able to give customers options, streamline order management, and grow into new markets. With a multitude of solutions, FedEx can help you with more than just shipping.
Are you spending a lot of time on social media and not seeing many results? Stop letting social media waste your time. I'm Melinda Emerson, Small Biz Lady. Let me teach you how I got over 250,000 followers on Twitter and became a social media ninja, and how you can too. Log on to succeedasyourownboss.com to purchase my social media ninja power pack. It could be yours for $197 or 4 easy payments of $67. Don't delay. Let me teach you how social media can become your #1 marketing tool in your small business. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Small Biz Chat Live from New York. I'm Melinda Emerson here in New York City with my friend Dory Clark. I'm so excited to introduce her. She is a branding expert, keynote speaker, author. She's an adjunct professor at the Fuqua School of Business at Duke, and she's also a frequent contributor to the Harvard Business Review. And Dory, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you, Melinda. I'm so excited we finally get to meet in person. This is amazing for me.
I know, what, after years of being Twitter pals
That's right.
and talking on the phone, we finally meet in real life. Isn't it funny how sometimes when you build relationships with people online, when you meet them in real life, you totally feel like you know them.
Absolutely.
Isn't that cool?
That's best.
I know you have written this amazing book called Stand Out, and it's all about branding and positioning yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about if a small business wants to start building their brand, they're new, what is like the first couple of things they should be focused on as they build their brand?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that I think is most important is content creation for small businesses. And that may seem to a lot of small business owners like an afterthought or something that's superfluous. Mm-hmm. But I actually want to argue that it's useful to have from the beginning, because it's a way of doing multiple things. Number one is it helps spread the message about what exactly you do. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people who are out there in your life, it's going to take them a while to actually figure it out. I mean, we've all seen people, you know, you ask their spouse at a party, oh, what do they do? And they say, oh, something in computers. So when you create content, you show people what you do, and it's a way of attracting the right customers to you,
Sure.
which is the best kind of marketing.
Now, one of the things that I like to tell people when they start talking about branding is their website, their website, their website. Like, it, you know,
social media is great, but dude, where are you driving the traffic to from which is social media, right? It's all about that website, and the content that you talked about is on the website, and you can use that to drive traffic back, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, we all learned, the world learned in 2013 when Facebook famously rejiggered its algorithms that people were just banking on having these relationships that, oh, I have all these fans on Facebook, I can reach them forever. And then they realized, oh, Facebook is a public company with shareholders. They are going to maximize their profits.
Right.
And so, same goes for Twitter, same goes for any of these companies. Right. And so as a result of that.
We do love Twitter the most.
Oh, we love them.
We love Twitter the most. I have to say that. We love Twitter. But yeah, I know what you mean. But one of the things that's interesting about Facebook is I told people, I said, listen, Facebook now wants to charge you to have access to people who already said they love you.
That's right. But if you have the relationship, if you have them on their email list, if they're coming to your website, you own the relationship, not somebody else.
Exactly. And one of the things that I've heard people say is that, well, should I even have a website? Because I got a Facebook or I got an Instagram. Do I even need a website? Yes. Yes, you do.
That's right.
But now, let me ask you this. There's so many people now developing content. There's so much information out there. How do you stand out when I got started on Twitter in 2008 and I became the Small Biz Lady, part of the reason why my business has been so successful is because I was very early to the game and I figured out social media, when Twitter was like 2 years old, right? So, but now I don't know that you could redo what I did now.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. I mean, these days, if you're starting fresh on Twitter, you could only get a huge following if you're already famous, if you're already a football player or something like that. It's very hard to build that up organically if you're a regular citizen. But here's the thing, I think it's important when it comes to content creation to understand what metrics you should be looking at different stages of your business.
Okay.
A lot of people look at, they create a blog post or some other piece of content and they say, oh, it's a failure. 100 people saw it. I need 100,000 people to see it. And early on in your business, that is not correct. What you need is the right 100 people to see it. Because if you're a small business owner, let's say you write a blog post and it's targeted exactly at your customer, you send that to them, that could be a $10,000, $50,000 sale. That's the best blog post you ever wrote. You don't need it to go viral.
You are absolutely true about that. Now, I know you talk about how people can build what we call social proof. Now, how does one go about building the credibility to have, social proof?
Yeah, absolutely. So social proof is a term from the world of psychology. And essentially what it refers to, it's basically another way of saying credibility. It's, what are the brands, the affiliations, the associations that you have around you so that when people are looking at you, they can say, oh, this Melinda seems interesting, I should listen to her.
And yes, listen to me.
Indeed. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can get that social proof and that credibility. And so if you're a small business owner, I mean, some easy ways to do it. Get involved with your local chamber of commerce, your local civic association, become involved in your professional association, things like that. Usually, frankly, because they're volunteer positions, there's not a lot of competition for it, but it gives you standing and status in the community. People are seeking you out. They say, oh, this person was elected by their peers, we should listen to them. Blogging or writing for other, publications that people have heard of, that's another great way to get social proof. If you have any marquee clients that you can cite, then people say, oh, well, if she's good enough for FedEx, then she's good enough for me.
Hey. Absolutely. Now, one of the things that I know that sometimes people do things to destroy their brand. And can we talk about some of the no things people do on social media?
Don't drag the passengers. Don't do that.
Right? What else can small businesses do? We know there's big business gaffes all over the place, right? But I'm talking about what are some of the things that small businesses do that just absolutely shoot themselves in the foot when they're building their brand?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that social media is a place now where a lot of consumers have taken to putting their complaints. This is the place where for so long customers were disempowered there was no one to complain to. If the business was unresponsive, they just had to deal with it. But social media gave people finally a way to fight back, and that is a good thing for consumers. But for businesses, it can be a little bit dangerous, because if someone is dissatisfied for valid reasons or even not so valid reasons, they might start putting things out on Yelp. They might, be doing reviews on your Google page. They might be tweeting. And so it's really important for small businesses, at a very minimum, to be monitoring social media channels. They should have a Google alert out on their names, their personal name, the name of their business, so that they can see immediately what is being said, so they can respond quickly and try to tamp things down if there's a problem.
Now, what about like these review sites, like Yelp and some of this stuff out here, where somebody can really give you a sock in the nose, on one of these sites? What is your philosophy, or how do you advise people about that?
Yeah, it's really challenging, because obviously you can't stifle free speech. If someone's going to be a jerk, they're going to be a jerk.
Sure.
But I think that one of the best things that you can do as a business owner is, presumably, if you're running a good business, you might have every once in a while a dissatisfied customer, but you have a lot of satisfied customers. And so these are the people that it actually pays, if you can develop good, warm, personal relationships with your customers. If you can remind them, if you can say, hey, if you wouldn't mind, Melinda, this is a useful thing. If someone compliments you, if you say to me, oh, Dory, I love doing business with you so much, that's the moment you can say, oh, Melinda, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. What I would really appreciate, if you happen to have a minute, is if our best customers come from word of mouth from other customers. Would you mind sharing that on Yelp so that other people can see what your experience has been? And if they're really a passionate fan, they're going to say, oh yes, absolutely. Sometimes they just need to be reminded to do it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like to do is, particularly for my corporate clients, whenever I find out that they love working with my company, I ask them to go on LinkedIn and give me a review.
Exactly, same thing.
And I have, I think almost 60 reviews on LinkedIn. And what's cool about that is, when you get enough social proof of people who like you, you don't have to have conversations with people about whether or not you can solve their problem.
That's right, and it drowns out the negative.
Oh yeah.
If people see 59 positive reviews and 1 negative, they're going to say, okay, somebody had a bad day.
Exactly. And the other thing too is, I've heard of businesses, particularly retailers, who have to interact with a lot of different reviews on Yelp. One of the secrets that I have heard is that you should respond to every review, the good ones and the bad ones, so you don't just come off like defensive when somebody gives you a negative one on Yelp.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, absolutely.
So now, I know that you wrote an ebook about networking. So can you talk to us about some of your secrets? Like, if you're starting out in business, you just love your job, you don't have a big network, what should you do?
Yeah, thank you. It's true. I have an ebook that I did called Standout Networking, and I was prompted to do this. I write a lot about networking because it's an area that so many people, frankly, dislike. They have baggage around it. They even hear the word networking and they say, oh no, I hate that. It's terrible. It's not me. And I really want to push back on that, because I think that networking is something that everyone can do. And so even if you're starting out, you don't have a very big network, there are things you can do. One, for instance, that I recommend, and this dovetails with our conversation earlier about content creation, is to actually think about networking and content creation as being hand in glove. And so a great way to think about this, if you have a blog, a podcast, something like that, you can actually reach out to people that you admire or want to meet. Maybe it's an influencer in your field, maybe it's a potential client, and say to them, could I interview you for my blog or for my podcast? And they are going to be a lot more, they may or may not say yes. Actually, a lot of them do say yes, but they're going to be a lot more willing to say yes to an interview request than they are what everybody else does, which is, oh, Melinda, can I buy you a coffee? Can I pick your brain? And when you have 50 of those in a week, you can't do it.
Like, dude, I don't talk to anybody longer than 30 minutes about anything. I just can't. I got too much going on.
That's right.
But you make a very good point about figuring out a way to be figuring out how you could give something versus ask for something, right?
Yes,
Isn't
absolutely.
that what it's about?
Yeah.
Now, I know that you have a secret for people that are introverts. So what do you tell folks that are just really shy and they just want to stand by the food table, when they get to their networking event?
Yeah, well, I can absolutely relate because I'm an introvert, and so it
Really?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. All right, you're an introvert, Dory. Okay. All right. So tell me about how to handle introverts.
Yeah, well, nobody believes me. First of all, because there's a
The big keynote speaker is an introvert. Yeah. Okay.
Well, the interesting thing, there's a lot of cultural confusion about introversion versus shyness. They're two different things. If you're introverted, it basically just means you need to spend a lot of alone time recharging. If you're shy, that's the situation when you're a little nervous about judgment or what are people going to think of me. So I'm not really shy, but I am introverted, and so consequently, big events, big noisy events where you're interacting with, 500 people,
Right.
they're exhausting for me because it takes a lot of emotional energy to, be out there and on with that many people. And so one permission that I hereby grant introverts, which I granted to myself a few years ago, if there's a certain type of networking event you hate, like, the big 500 person gatherings, don't go to them. I literally don't do it anymore. And it's so much better for your psychology. However, the trick is that doesn't mean you're allowed to not network at all.
Right,
It means
right,
you
right,
do
right.
it in a different way,
Sure.
and you start doing it more with small groups, and then you'll probably enjoy it a lot more.
Okay. Now we've got time for one more question.
All right.
I'm going to ask you this quick. Small businesses think they should be doing all kinds of stuff on social media. So how could they figure out and tamp down where they should be online?
Yeah, so there's three questions that they should be asking themselves, Melinda, and this is something that I actually talk about a bit in my forthcoming book, which is called Entrepreneurial You. So question number one is where are your customers? I mean, you can find this out by talking to people who are already your customers or your ideal customers. What are they doing? Where are they spending their time? You want to reach them where they are. Number two, you think about where your particular skill set lies or your interests. If you hate video, it's okay. You don't have to do video. You could do podcasts. You can do tweets, whatever. And the third piece that you want to ask yourself is there some unique element of my business that lends itself to a medium? If you're a baker, if you're a florist, you should be on Instagram.
Right.
You are
You got
missing
something
out.
visually appealing.
That's right. Or if you have a really cool process, let's say you own a bar and you make some cocktail that simmers or fizzes or something, you should be making videos of that because that is what really shows it off.
Sure.
So think about the inherent powers of the medium and how it relates to your business.
Great, great, great. Well, Dory, thank you so much for being a guest of mine tonight on Small Biz Chat Live from New York. You've been terrific. I think she's given all of us some great tips, particularly if you're an introvert. And really, thank you so much because I loved your book, Stand Out. And so I'm so glad that we had a chance to meet in real life and to have you on Small Biz Chat. And when we come back, we're going to be talking with one of the Diallo brothers, Jinjan brothers, who were the winners of FedEx's Small Business Grant Contest. And I have to tell you that we have an amazing video for you to get to know them before we even get a chance to bring them to the set. So with that, we'll be right back. I'm Melinda Emerson. See you soon.
In many ways, for us, we are living the American dream right now. It's something that a lot of immigrants that come here really strive for and never get to. And even Americans that are born and raised here strive for and never get to.
We feel very lucky to be here in New York City, the melting pot. I don't think we could have done this anywhere else in the world. And I feel so blessed and lucky to be here.
My mom and my dad as well always made sure to impart to us that it's extremely important to be an entrepreneur and actually build or bring ideas to life and essentially be the change you want to see in the world, to be a little cliche.
Since we always wanted to be entrepreneurs, we were always looking for that one idea. The one idea that we were passionate about, that we would go out there for and just fight for it. Ginger juice is a traditional beverage that we grew up drinking in Africa. It's been around for thousands of years, and it's something we grew up drinking. And when we moved to the United States, we realized that it was almost impossible to get a quality drink. And we looked at each other at that moment and we go, we should make this drink. When we decided to make this ginger juice, we literally had no idea what to do. We didn't even know where to start. So what do you do when you don't know what to do? You call mom. And so we called our mother and we took her recipe, and from there we went to work.
Ginger is made with fresh ginger, cold pressed pineapples, fresh squeezed lemons, vanilla, anise, and organic cane sugar. And it's fantastic.
So this is our mother's recipe and her mother's recipe and our great-great-great-grandmother. So it goes all the way back. It's something that's been made from household to household.
For a lot of people, this would be the first time they've ever got introduced to an African product. Oftentimes when people try this, their reaction is always, oh my God, I've never had anything like this. I love to hear people say that they've never had anything like it, because that's exactly what we hoped that we are sharing, because it means that we're bringing a new experience to people, and that's important to us.
Making this juice together, it's really our time to be together. Prior to this, we were both working very often. We saw each other maybe once a week, and you don't realize it, but it's terrible to have your only family member and you don't even get to see each other. So
this is the longest stretch of time that we end up spending together, even in the kitchen. So we look forward to it, if you will.
It was our time to share ideas, to talk about our next best marketing strategy. We finish around 5, 6 a.m. I go home, take a shower, get into my nicest suit, and go to work. And while I'm working, he's doing demos, meeting with store managers, going to FedEx Ship Center to fulfill our website orders. And typically that's how a day is, and we stay busy all day. There's always something more to do.
It brings me a lot of joy, knowing that my brother and I made something good enough that someone is willing to give us their hard-earned money for, and it's very gratifying, So that's the best thing that I've gotten out of being an entrepreneur.
Being a minority entrepreneur in America, or just an entrepreneur in America, this is still a great time to be a business owner or to launch a business. You have local businesses out there. If they see you're passionate enough and you work hard enough, they're willing to support you, to help you. You have corporate companies such as FedEx with grants out there trying to help small businesses like ours. The FedEx Small Business Grant is a perfect example. We're a very small company. We just only now started promoting our online website. However, it did not matter. We were a young small business that was working hard to grow, to do well, and we were grant winners, which to me is, I still cannot believe it. I'm pinching myself. So to be brief, for a young black Muslim guy to be the national grant winner for FedEx shows you how amazing this country is. If there is just one example of the American dream, I think we've experienced it. So you just need to work hard, you need to believe in what you do, and go out and get it done, and you can make it here. If you're out there thinking of following your own dream, launching your own business, do it, because this is still a beautiful time.
Welcome back to Small Biz Chat live from New York. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, and I am so excited to be here with Raheem Diallo,
hey,
one of the Jan brothers, who is going to talk to us tonight about his business. He sells this.
Absolutely.
Jan.
Jan. So cold pressed organic ginger drink with fresh ginger, pineapples, lemon, vanilla, anise, and some organic cane sugar. It's amazing.
And I heard a rumor that if you all like the Moscow Mule, that this is amazing to make a drink. And so, listen, we just watched that amazing video that was produced
about you and your brother after you guys won the FedEx Small Business Grant Contest, and we're going to get to that. But first, I really want to get an update about your business. Like, what's going on with your business? What's going on with you and your brother? Like, how are you guys doing?
Things are great. I mean, since the FedEx grant, that kind of gave us a chance to kind of boost our brand a little bit more, and we expanded our distribution territory a little bit. Still in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, but we just got into a few more points of sale, and we're just working, pushing it day by day, and trying to build a massive beverage brand.
That's cool. That's cool. So now your business is based here in New York, right?
That's correct. We make it in East Harlem, 115 Elm Park, at our Hot Bread Kitchen Incubate.
All right. Now, what is it like to be a business in New York? You know, they say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So tell me about that.
We're testing it, right? We haven't quite made it yet, but that's the plan. It's very challenging. It's extremely competitive, but that in of itself can be a good thing, right? Because it kind of brings the best out of you. But we've lived here for a long time. We know our way around New York City, and we really enjoy it. We wouldn't want to do this anywhere else. So we're very happy to be doing it in New York. It's challenging, but you have a lot of resources available to you at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it's good to be close to so many people doing so many amazing things.
Now, what kind of resources have you guys taken advantage of? In terms of like SCORE, or are there any other small business incubator type places that have helped you guys?
Sure. So that's one of the great things about New York, given that it's such a concentrated area. So you have a lot of amazing, especially in our space. I mean, in all spaces really, but in the food and beverage space, you have a lot happening here. Brooklyn is pretty much like the mecca of foodies today. But all the other boroughs, Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem, where we are, we have a lot of really good artisanal food people there, so we get to learn from them, and at the same time, essentially see what best practices are, right?
Sure.
The best in the space, what they're doing, so that we can somewhat emulate them and put our own twist on it.
All right, that's good stuff. Now, I know that you work with your big brother in your business.
That's right.
So I want to know, what is the deal? What is it like to work with your brother?
A lot of folks tell you not to work with family. You hear this all the time because it's not going to end well. Don't work with friends and family. We're lucky enough that we're phenomenal partners. We just happen to be brothers. We fight all the time, all day, every day, essentially. But that's been the case since we were little kids. And it's never because of anything malicious. It's always about who has the better idea to push the business forward. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, we know that we're on the same page about everything we're doing. It's challenging, but I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else.
Okay. Well, I think that's very fair.
Absolutely.
Now I'm one of those people that tells people not to hire people they can't fire. I really am.
You can fire your brother too. It's really not that complicated. You can fire them. You can fire a friend, a family member, but I know why people say it, but if you just make sure you're jumping in business with the right family member.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you guys were the grand prize winners of the 2016 FedEx Small Business Grant Contest, and that came along with it a pretty nice check, right? You guys got $25,000.
25 large, and we needed them too, so it came at the right time.
Now, tell me, what has your life been like since you guys won that contest? Like,
on a day-to-day basis, honestly, not too much has changed.
Okay.
But on the business side, like I mentioned at the opening, it's been just winning it. Aside from the cash, which you'll burn through fairly quickly, it was just such an endorsement for us, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a door opener. It's a lot of things that we can really quantify with just that cash prize. Mm-hmm. So we've leveraged it, So everyone we talk to, we mention it, and it just gives people, Dory earlier talked about social proof.
Sure.
That's our social proof at this level,
Right.
It's a big multinational company. They think we're good enough to represent them.
Sure.
That's good enough.
Yeah, well, now I know that a large part of the FedEx Small Business Grant Contest was social voting. Like, you had to get a lot of people to vote for you. Mm-hmm. And so how did you do it? Like, what did you do?
So we get this question a lot because a lot of the folks that go into it, applying that step is easy, but getting on people's case for 30 days, however long, I forget what the window is, to get in there and vote for you over and over again can be challenging, especially if you're a young brand and you don't have a massive following online already like some of the brands on there are. So what we did, so I'll let you in on this little secret. Next year, I'm sure a bunch of you guys will do it.
It's a secret.
So for us, we had, we thought, okay, if you put this on Facebook or any social media, Facebook primarily, it's gonna get filtered out, like Dory was mentioning earlier. So how can we get to those people every time? So we created an event, like a group page, and put everyone we know in that group. That way, when we post something, they all get a notification, right? Because it's like an event. So every morning we'll go on there. Good morning, rise and shine, blah, 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 say this, say that. Don't forget to vote. You can do much, you can give us money, you can do much else to help us out in the day-to-day, but you can, with 2 clicks, it'll mean the world to us. And that worked out really well.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, so you have to kind of think outside the box, like that, get creative. Because you can't pay for your votes
You cannot pay for your votes.
That's part of the contest.
If they catch you doing that,
you know. And we actually got a lot of offers, like online, people just
for people to help you pay, help you pay for votes?
So don't do it.
All right.
Yeah. So
Well, listen, one of the things I thought you had mentioned to me before is how much you learned about FedEx,
Sure.
like after you won the contest. Can you tell us a little bit about what you learned about what FedEx does for small business?
Yeah, absolutely. So, before we started, I'm a bit of a business nerd, so we'd read about FedEx,
Sure.
From a business standpoint, but we didn't know too much about what the day-to-days are. And we just didn't know to what extent, what kind of help is available to small businesses out there. And so, going through that process, getting a chance to fly down to Memphis and see how everything works, that was an amazing experience. But also getting to see the packaging lab that every small business out there have access to. Essentially, you send them packages, they assess it and help you figure out whether it's packaged properly, if it's gonna withstand all the breakage and all that in transit. And beyond that, getting in touch with a small business account manager, right? That essentially got to sit down with us and talk to us at a level where I think a lot of small businesses are intimidated to approach these big companies because they think their business is just not big enough.
Right.
Right. But it's in their best interest to kind of help you grow so you can grow along with them.
Sure.
So kind of keep that in mind as you go about.
So they were very helpful to you as an e-commerce business, figuring out how to ship your product all over the country and all over the world.
How to ship it, how to pack it, what best practices are, the answers that they directed us to resources that aren't even like FedEx owned, just so we can get essentially the best bang for our buck.
Sure.
So everything related to, not just shipping, but all kinds of logistic-related small business stuff, printing and stuff like that. They've been very helpful with that.
And they actually specialize in that. So particularly for e-commerce businesses, they're an incredible resource. There's Small Business Center on their website, which is small
Chock
business.
full of resources.
Right. Smallbusiness.fedex.com. I mean, there's great information. If you're interested in going international, like I'm imagining that that's something that, since you guys' recipe comes from Africa.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
The plan is to, have this drawing from Australia to the North Pole, right? But yeah, it's the website. I've actually we got a lot of resources from there before we got involved with FedEx.
Okay.
And we actually shipped with FedEx before we won the grant, so it was kind of you didn't have to switch over or do anything.
Right. You didn't have to suddenly become a FedEx customer. You were a FedEx customer.
We had shopped around already and did comparison shopping and tried out a bunch of other carriers out there, and we're just happy with what we got with FedEx, and we have 25,000 more reasons to stick with them now.
I know that's right. So listen, if you had one piece of business advice that you could give a small business owner who wanted to enter the FedEx Small Business Grant Contest, what would you say?
Be authentic. I think that's probably the most important thing, and because a lot of folks go in there thinking that the size of their business will determine their odds of winning. But they're looking for for a good story, an inspirational story, with a good product to boot and great entrepreneurs backing it, right? They're just looking for passionate people doing something that they actually care about, and make sure that that comes across. And I think if you do that, you know, you have a pretty good shot. And you know, not winning it is not a vote on the quality of your business either. Like there are amazing businesses that go on there but don't make it that far. So don't take those losses personally.
That's good stuff. Well, thank you so much for coming on Small Biz Chat live from New York. You've been a great winner for this FedEx Small Business Grant Contest, and we know they just named a new winner. Right? So there's a brand new winner out here.
We get to congratulate them, and they get to, I'm excited for them. They get to live through all of that.
So this is great. I can't wait to get to know them, and hopefully we'll have them next year.
Absolutely.
Right? All right. Well, listen, next week we'll be back on Twitter with my guest, Grayson Kemper, and he's going to be talking about how answering services can facilitate your small business growth. Thank you so much for your support of Small Biz Chat and Small Biz Chat Live tonight. Thank you to my guests, Twyla Garrett, Dory Clark, and Raheem Diallo, one of the Jin Jan brothers. And I also want to thank my generous sponsors, FedEx. You know, FedEx really is committed to helping small businesses, and I want you to know that I've worked with them for the past 2 years, and they are really committed to small business. This has been Small Biz Chat live from New York in celebration of National Small Business Week. The mission of Small Biz Chat is to end small business failure and help you succeed as your own boss. Thank you. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, and I want you to remember this. You never lose in business. Either you win or you learn. See you next time back on Twitter. Take care, everybody. Don't forget to join us. Use your hashtag SmallBizChat.
When an upstart e-commerce company began selling suits online for weddings, they knew their suits, their styles, and their customer service all needed to be the best. The Groomsman suit offers its customers FedEx time-definite delivery services and seamless returns. So now, grooms across the country can get perfectly fitted suits when they need them. And FedEx can help you seal the deal.
Are you unhappy with your job and ready to start a small business? Don't just quit. You need a plan to fire your boss. I'm Melinda Emerson, best-selling author of Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. Let me help you create a plan to start your dream business. All you need to do is log on to succeedasyourownboss.com to purchase your Become Your Own Boss Power Pack. It could be yours for $197 or 4 easy payments of $67. Don't delay. All you need is the success formula to build your dream business.